have you ever had to build your own network rack, but you were a little unsure as far as where to get started, and you wanted to make sure that, you know, when you started actually putting those devices in the rack, that it made sense, it looked good, and everything is going to fit, honestly. So that's exactly the purpose of this software that we're going to be taking a look at today. It's called Rackula, and looks just like Dracula, but just, it's called Rackula. And what it does, it helps you kind of lay out your rack based off of the different type of hardware that you have. So let's jump into it. And also we're going to cover a couple of different things about it as well as we're diving into it, because it actually crosses over a little bit with one of the discussions we were having on the YouTube community forum. So when you first jump into the platform, this is what you're going to see. It's going to ask you, hey, go ahead and name your rack. And this was Racky McRackface. You may not want to name yours that. We're going to be just calling ours Becky. And so Becky needs to have some parameters set. First off, you know, what kind of width are we working with? I'm going to go with a standard 19-inch, but now this one may be a little different for you. That's height. So you're working with a full rack, maybe a half, and maybe even a smaller one than that. You can pick from these common ones here, or you can also select a custom and enter however many U's that you have. But we're going to go with 24. We're going to go with like a half. And let's see, go ahead and hit create. And here we go. Here's Becky all laid out, ready for hardware to be added. There's some customizations that we can do here. If we click on the rack itself, we can change the name, we can change the height, we can change pretty much everything about it. We can also move myself over here. We can delete the rack. We can add some notes in here as well. So good things to know about. But let me show you something that's really cool. We have on the left a bunch of generic hardware. So we have, you know, router switches. We have some AV equipment here too, some power equipment. But if you, let's go ahead and click on general at the top, or generic. And now if we look below that, we see there's a bunch of vendor specific hardware, which is really cool. And this is where I really dig this. So if we click on Dell, let's find ourselves a Power Edge. Let's drop this over here. So we got him in there, and now maybe we want to add an Ubiquity switch. We're going to put that right, maybe like not right on top of him, right below him. And one of the options that you do have is to switch the views. So if you look at the top here, we have a view right now is set to label. If we click that, and we'll see that some of them, well, just one of them changed into an image, which is kind of cool. There's a couple of them that do have images and a couple of them that don't. Let me see. I think one of the HP ProLiants has an image. Yeah, here we go. So here's one of the ProLiants. We can see that we have the image of the rack. There's the front image, and then there's the rear. Good thing about these is that any of them that don't have an image, there's nothing stopping you from adding them. If we click on the device itself, we have a couple of options. We have a front image, we have a rear image, and then we have IP address and notes. So there is a bug that I found that it's probably being worked on. But if you enter any notes or IP address, notes specifically for the IP address, it's not a big fan of actually keeping that. So if I hit that, and I'm going to hit enter, and if I click away from it and come back, yeah, the notes are gone, and the IP address is gone as well. So that is a bug, something to be aware of. I'm sure they're going to fix it. But moving on from that, we can specify if we want to show the front or the rear. Maybe you just only care about the front. You can change that so that it will show either, you know, you'll show you what you're going to be seeing on the back side as well as the front side. So let's do this. Let's take a look at a couple of the other options, and then we're going to talk about this software a little bit. So we can click new rack. This will basically make us so that it would wipe out what we've done, and it's giving us the option to save it first. It doesn't store anything on this. There's no volumes, there's no databases, there's nothing to store here. This is all just for you to build and then export or save. You can load ones that you have saved. So if you are working with something like that, and you want to save it and then load it later on, then you can do that as well. So that's what the load and layout button is right here is for, as well as the save. Now the export is a little different. The export, we have a couple of options. We have PNG, JPEG, SVG, PDF, also CSV, and we can choose the way that it looks, either dark or a light mode, transparent background, include legends, include a QR code for sharing, all very, very possible things. Next up, we do have the share icon, and this will generate us a share link, as well as a QR code that you can scan that will, I think it'll basically just regenerate what you had here. Next up, we have undo. That should be self-explanatory. Delete, if you want to just kill off the rack completely. We can change our views. Remember, we did have our label view right here, which has no images, and we have ones with images, and then we have ones both with images and labels. And then we have annotations. If you want maybe the label off to the left, you could do that. We can just reset our view, and then we have light mode and dark mode. No reason to go into light mode. Now on the left hand side, I want you to check this out. We did recently a video on Netbox. If you do have any information in Netbox that you want to import, you do have the ability to import a Netbox YAML file, which is kind of cool. You can also add devices. So if there's one that's in that maybe doesn't exist in here that you do want, you do have the option of loading custom devices as well and picking your custom colors. All right, last but not least, if you click on the Rackula at the very top, we do have some keyboard shortcuts. And more importantly, if we zoom down here at the very bottom, we can go ahead and check this banana for scale. And when we look at our rack, here we go. We have a banana, so we know exactly how big our rack is. Now, I don't really know the scale of the banana, but hey, you know. All right, so now comes the interesting thing that I wanted to talk about. Before we get into building this and installing this on our own server, I just want you to let you know that, you know, in the past, we've had conversations in our community about open source software being generated and created with like vibe coding, and that's coding done with AI through like Claude. This is a great example of that. This software, the majority of the code, I believe, has been done through Claude. They admit it on the GitHub, and they even say, hey, if you want to contribute to this project, you can use Claude to add to this project. So something very interesting to know about. All right, so before we get into the installation, which is pretty easy, it's not going to take very much time at all, I do want to point out a couple of things that has been said on this project. So this does have a right many number of issues going into it, but it is very new, and that's kind of to be expected on new projects. But I do notice that when they updated the Rackula right here, it kind of lost a lot of the things that were initially in this project when I first started. So I wanted to kind of point out those things. So let's go to our README MD and let's look at the history. And the one that I was looking at was right here. This is actually the one that has the screenshots and what is it? What does it do? And I want you to take special note with this. So basically this was built with Claude. The project was built using AI assisted development, and I told it what to build, and I said, no, not like that. And it says the AI did a lot of the typing. Commits with the substantial AI contributions are marked with co-authored by tags because we are not going to pretend otherwise. So this is a prime example of what you may want to take a look at in the future when you are looking at open source software. Is this guy had a great idea, and he used AI to build a lot of that things to do the coding for it. Now, does that mean that security suffered? I don't know. It's a good question. We can definitely take a look at, he has a security section right here. And again, he's kind of bringing out that this was AI generated. So basically he's kind of, he's kind of covering his butt, which I appreciate that. And I also respect somebody that had an idea for software and didn't maybe necessarily have all of this, the appropriate coding expertise. but still wanted to put out something to the community that he found to be maybe beneficial to him or her. So just wanted to talk about that, let you know kind of what to expect going forward. And we're going to see a lot more of this, of projects being built with AI. It's not going to stop me from reviewing them, but it is something that I'm going to bring up to you guys and let you know about so that you go into it with eyes wide open. With that said, let's go ahead and build our instance of this. All right, so now that we're back at the very front page of the repository, let's scroll down and find the Docker Compose file. It's a very simple project. We're going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to go to Portainer. We're going to go to stacks. And now we're going to go ahead and add a stack. I'm just going to call it Rackula and paste it in here. And like with all of our other projects, we're always going to take a look at the compose file, see if there's anything that stands out. This instance, not so much. We do have Rackula services being created. The image is already set up for us. No need to build anything, but it says you can if you want to. We do have ports here. I'm not going to make this internet facing. I'm just going to leave this run it locally. And if you decide you want to make it internet facing, it's up to you. Not a big deal. But me, I'm not so much. For this, I'm going to change 8080 just to be 8181 because 8080 is used pretty commonly. Remember, on the left-hand side is the port that is being exposed to your network, right? And port 80 is the port that the container is expecting to see traffic on. That basically we're forwarding traffic from 8181 to 80, not a big deal. Last up, we have a restart policy. This basically says that unless the container is stopped before the server reboots, when a server reboots unexpectedly, this is going to come up automatically. Pretty easy peasy. No volumes, no databases, no environment variables to worry about. Let's go ahead and just deploy. Now that that is deployed, let's go to our containers. We can see that it is definitely booting up. We should get a healthy here in a second. We do have healthy listing on 8181. Nice. All right, so let's go ahead and duplicate this tab and back over here, type in 8181. Nope, don't forget the colon. And let's go ahead and remove the S out of HTTPS. If you did everything like I did, your URL should look something like this. Let's hit enter. And here we go. We got Rackula and all ready to go. Looks like it most likely keeps a lot of the settings inside of memory. So that's probably why it shows Becky right here. All right, guys. So what did you think? Is this something that you were interested in, or was the fact that it was made with AI immediately turn you off? I'd love to know your comments. Please leave them down below. If you have questions, I'll take those too. All right. Thanks so much for watching.